Welcome to the Joshua Morales podcast.
And we are good. So, Joshua Lopez, you're in the community quite a bit.
Yes, I try to get out there as much as possible. I think doing what I do, it is a very good idea to stay in tune with your scene, meaning who's doing what, who's making the moves, who's involved, who's, just keeping busy out here.
Right. So just for context, let people know what you do.
So I am a musician, producer, and a content creator. So there's a lot of stuff that it entails, but mostly my job is around music.
Awesome. So content creation, this is one of the things that I love doing in the digital world because nobody's doing it, and nobody's doing it at scale, and nobody's doing it right. So the content creation that we literally live in the digital world, you have to create content consistently all the time. And I know this for a fact because if I stop tomorrow creating content, everybody's going to forget about me.
Yeah, because of how fast social media works.
So touch on that because I think it's a very interesting thought process that nobody really understands.
Well, for me, the way I got into content creation was, I'm a musician, I'm a producer. I love to work with gear. Now, how do I get these companies to put gear in my hands? Yeah. And that's how I kind of got into content creation. Was I got endorsed by my first company, Legator Guitars. And from there, I just started trying to provide a value to this company. And the way it works is, instead of a company going and paying for advertisement space on a magazine or online or something like that, when they have a content creator, they know that if they send them that guitar, they're going to be promoting them and pushing them. And as long as you keep content flowing, they're going to keep the gear in your hands. Yeah. So that's basically the approach I took to it. I was like, what can I provide for these companies to get the gear that I need to use to do my job?
Yeah. That's never been available in the history of man. I mean, the internet has literally shrunk the world where if you create good enough content, these guys are going to reach out to you, or vice versa. You can reach out to them with content. Like, I know for a fact that when I create content, I'm not creating it just for myself. You're obviously touched on value, but I create content because I'm answering the same questions over and over and over again. So if I record it, put it on a YouTube link, and I send it, boom, it's right then and there. It's instant. It's instant gratification that we live in the world. So touch on NAMM, because how did you get into NAMM? Was it through the content creation?
It was actually not. It was through producing bands. So NAMM is a big musician convention in Anaheim, California. Basically, I tell people it's the E3 for music. Everybody in the world, not just like the US, like everybody in the world are in the same convention for a whole 4 days, just conducting business. So NAMM stands for the National Association of Music Merchants. Okay. So all the biggest brands in the music industry, whether it be for recording, filming, guitar, violin, any instrument you can think of, they're all here conducting business for the year. Either your Hermes was out there, either your Hermes, locking in brands and stuff like that for the year, or you're an artist who's repping a brand and doing demos, which is what I do. This past 2 years, I was a demonstrator. I do demos for Legator Guitars. You're showing off the latest product. I mean, it's just a place to be as a musician. And what's really crazy is it's kind of like high school. You know what I mean? Everybody's there. And you notice there's kind of like, little groups going on, friends going on. And when you put yourself in the industry in a place like NAMM, you have Steve Vai, who's like 20 feet away and awesome. Just like people like you put yourself in that scene. And then all of a sudden you're at an after party and like, I don't know, the guy from Dream Theater is just chilling, hanging out with everybody or, Zach Wilde is out there.
Really?
What I mean? Everybody. It's just like ridiculous. My first year out there, I saw the guitar player of Mana with like 2 other dudes just like checking out a guitar, like, oh, this is real nice,
Really? Damn. Do you ever get nervous? Because I saw some videos of you and you're going hardcore out there, dude. It's like you switch into a different person when you're on stage.
Definitely. I went out my first year because I recorded a band called Immortal Guardian, and they they go out to NAMM. They knew the benefits of NAMM.
Gotcha.
And when I recorded them, we vibed so hard. Like, it was just so beautiful that they were like, look, man, do you want to go to NAMM? Yes, we're paying for your ticket. We're paying for your flight. We're paying for your stay. We'll even help you out with food. You know, they just covered me just because they knew I was a good person and that I was going to benefit from it a lot.
Right.
So I got endorsed with Legator. The next year, last year, I did a demo for them. And the very first performance was very nerve-wracking. Just because, like, you know, I've played shows. I'm a big show guy. I love to perform and move and get the crowd in. And it's different at a demo because it's just you and you have all these eyes watching you. So I spend all year doing social media so that when I do go out to NAMM, my booth isn't empty when I'm there. I have people
That's very smart.
waiting all year to check me out. And I've done that both years, that it's worked to my benefit.
That's awesome.
You know, my guys see that and they're more inclined to be more involved.
I don't think people understand that social media is work. Like, you literally did this the whole year, creating content, just like you said, so you can have people at your booth over there. I don't think most people, 99% of people, will not take the time to do that stuff. But you get it. What is it that you get about social media?
What is it I get about social media? I get that it is a big tool. I get that it makes our world a little smaller. And it's just a way to bring people into your life and show like what you do, but at the same time, like, conduct business. Like, I use Facebook to conduct all of my business. Since I came out with Widowmaker Studios back in 2016, I've handled everything through Facebook. And it kind of like boggles me when I have these old school musicians here in the Valley where it's like, oh, I don't really use Facebook, or I don't do it. I'm like, good luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Good luck, because it just gets, without social media, like, I don't know how I would get out there.
Yeah.
You know, we get a voice with social media, and it's just a big tool. It's a big tool.
It's very interesting because this is the same conversation I have with business owners. It's probably the same conversation you're having with these older guys. It's like, I don't get it, man. Like, Facebook isn't cool, but it's made a shitload of business. Shitload of business. So that's what I don't understand. It's like, dude, I'm giving you data. I'm giving you analytics, exactly what you want. And they're like, well, I don't see the benefit of it, or I don't know if it's working. I was like, I can tell you firsthand that it works. You just have to know how to use it to your benefit.
Use it, read the numbers when it comes to Facebook Manager and promoting posts. Some people just put like $10 in and they're like, you know, they aim for nothing.
Yeah.
And I kind of count numbers a lot. If I'm promoting a certain post, I'll make sure I'm looking at the numbers and seeing what my ages are, what people are interested. Because I feel for everybody, every single person, they might say the market is saturated, but there are people out there who want to see you.
Right.
How do you find those people?
Yeah.
You need to learn the numbers and figure it out so that you can find the people who want to see your content. They want to know what you're doing.
You're absolutely right, because this is one of the conversations I have with some of my clients. So, like, what about, like, for my lawyer client, he's like, well, how am I going to get seen over Jay Gonzalez? Like, he's everywhere, right? I was like, people naturally gravitate towards certain people. So not everybody's going to go towards him. They're going to see your mannerisms on Facebook, how you speak, how you talk, everything, and they're just going to gravitate toward you. It's a very niche market that you can go after, and people still don't get it. And I think within the next 2 to 5 years, people here in the Valley are going to start actually in the world, they're going to start jumping on these things, because Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all these huge companies are going to start coming in, and they're going to saturate the market with their tons of ad money. Mm-hmm. And then us little guys that are putting the money in are going to be knocked off. So there's still a golden opportunity right now. And it's been like that for the past 4 years, dude.
I think everybody's like waiting to like be prepared, especially like when I tell people like, you need to get out to NAMM. Your vision becomes clear. You know what you need to do for the year. Come out to NAMM. And a lot of people, they want to be prepared for that. They want to come out like, you know, swinging, ready to go. But the truth is like, we're kind of never ready for stuff like that. So when it comes to social media, just start jumping in, because 2 years from now, the game is going to be different, and what you thought worked doesn't work anymore.
Exactly.
So you need to learn the platform and then move with it.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think you can go out swinging anymore. You have to build, like you're building every single day. Those little things build up to a huge thing.
Everybody hates to show their flaws. I personally love when I see a band in their first album, second album, third album, fourth, fifth.
See the growth.
And you see that growth.
Yeah.
You get to see what they went through. You know, at first, they were onto something, but you know, it was a little rough. And then you see them polish it out into, you know, whatever it becomes. So I kind of use that with my stuff. You know, I try not to let the mess ups or the flaws bother me too much, because the fact of the matter is you do need to keep coming out with content. You do need to keep consistent. And if I'm there spending 3 weeks on a video, well, then it's not benefiting me. You know what I mean? Sometimes videos are like in the moment. You know, a new song comes out and you have like a day to come out with a cover video of that song if you want to get on that hype train. You know what I mean? So
it's fast.
It's fast. It's very, very, very fast.
So how do you stay creative? Obviously, you're a creative person.
Very.
Can regular people do what you do? Because I make a ton of content and I consider myself creative, but I can create on the fly. I'm assuming you're the same way.
For the most part, yeah. I grew up playing since I was 5 years old. You know, playing guitar before I was learning how to read. And I grew up with a lot of instruments, and I grew up with ADHD and just very like my brain moves so fast. It's constantly like just going 100 miles per hour. And I try to work off of that as much as I can. Sometimes it's hard when like I need to get something done and I'm sitting there and the creativeness isn't coming to me, which is when you have to find creative ideas to bring out your creativeness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how do you find your creativity?
Usually when I create a piece of content, it's for certain reasons. I have very many hobbies, so I try to use one of those videos as outlets for certain creative spots, so that it's never getting old. I'm not, you know, doing the same riffs over and over again. I'm not doing the same scales over and over again. It could be fresh and something new for me, something I can dive into. I really hate it when I do the same thing and I'm like scratching my head like, I've heard this already. You know what I mean? It's getting boring. You know what I mean? So there's really no like right question for that, because creativity sometimes chooses to come whenever it wants to come. But I just try to work that out. Right. You know, like working out a muscle, you know, work out your creativeness.
Interesting. I find it very interesting because you said you had ADHD, right? And you still have it.
Yeah, of course.
So that's a very interesting thing, because I think a lot of people, for them, it's like, all right, this is a negative thing, but you've turned it into a complete positive thing.
Oh, completely.
So how did you do that? What makes you so different from other people? Or how did you navigate that?
I don't know. It just kind of like happened for me. I just have a lot of energy naturally, and I get very hyped up for things. You know, you see a movie and it's just like, oh, I want to do that. And I don't know. I just try to play off of that as much as I can till the next thing comes and gets me excited.
Right.
I don't know. It's just me, I guess, you know.
You learn how to deal with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. When I was growing up, I was very obnoxious and annoying and just like outgoing, talking to people all the time. And I felt like I had to learn how to calm that down and channel it in other ways.
Yeah.
You know
so that's what music is.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if somebody wanted to become going to NAMM, all right, how do they create these relationships that you created?
That's hard. Sometimes you could just know somebody who can get you a ticket, because you have to get a ticket through a brand. You know, you can't. It's a trade show. So sometimes you could know somebody and then you go out there and you just start networking. Sometimes that's a little hard. You know, I have friends who have been out there like a couple of years. I go my first year. He's
always on the podcast. Right?
It's great. I just try to make opportunity where there isn't opportunity.
Right.
And you just really have to network and find people who are in that business and see how you can make your way in. And then when somebody does give you a way in, use that opportunity. I came out of NAMM, my first NAMM, with a guitar endorsement. I had a friend who plays in a band called Power Glove, and he's been for years. Yeah. And he's like, how did you do that? Like on your first year? Like, I've been going to NAMM for years. Like, I don't understand how that works. And I guess it has to do with your personality and how you talk to people. And I'm a very big energy person. As soon as I shake your hand, I kind of get a vibe for what you're about. And what's really cool about having a really positive energy and just an outgoing energy is that people feed off of that. And I noticed that kind of helps really play for me. You know, if I went to a brand and started talking to them and I just wasn't stoked about what I was doing or very like trying to ask for stuff, you know, they feel that vibe. Instead, I go up to a company and I try to offer them something.
Interesting.
For instance, I just got endorsed by a pedal board brand called Double A pedal boards. And I'm like, okay, I need to fill these pedals up. I don't really have the pedal brand endorsement that I'm looking for. So I go walk around NAMM. There's like booths every step. And I'm looking at these pedals. Dad, rock, 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 rock. Ooh, metal. Oh, ISP pedals. I know these guys. So I start talking to the demoer. We start nerding out a little bit. And he brings me to one of the main owners, who is the pedal builder. We start nerding out. I bust out my guitar. I start shredding for them. And we kind of get this vibe going. They're a little like amazed, like, wow, you play, you're a shredder, you know? And then I was like, I build pedals too. So we started nerding out about that and how they gain structured things and just, you know, nerd talk. So boom, I have just won over the demoing guy, the main owner, and there's only one left at the booth, the wife. So I tell the guy, hey, let's switch to the clean channel. Let's try out this clean channel. And I have this version on the 8-string guitar of Everybody Wants to Rule the World, where you play bass and lead at the same time.
Nice. Okay.
So I start playing that and the wife comes up to me and she's like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Can you just like play that all week? Because I'm tired of hearing. So, you know, I kind of win these people over in a sense. And they're already like, well, this is the artist discount. We're ready to give you artist discount. Yeah. But I had mentioned to her, I was like, how's your social media? Yeah. Immediately, we need help. We need help. My daughter does social media for other brands, and I'm like, help me out. She doesn't have time for her mom, so we need help badly. So she gives me both their cards, and she's like, email me. I'm ready to give you artist discount, but let's talk some more. Yeah. You know, let's go from there. So it ends on a really good note. You know, I go on through NAMM, and my last day, I go back to the booth and I just say bye to them. Make sure that some of them have me on social media. Yeah. I tell them, hey, I'm going to be emailing you next week. I'm the guy with the beard. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I was going to say. I'll remember you as a guy with the beard. So I made sure in my email, I put, you know, guy with beard, 8-string guitar and stuff like that. But, you know, it's that personality that helps bring them in just as much as the work that's behind it. Right. You know, I can send them my EPK and that's usually, sometimes that's enough. You know, I have all the bands I record, all the content I create, and all the bands I play in. It looks really nice on paper. Yeah. But sometimes it takes a little bit more to reel them in and to get them to see my EPK. Now, when I show her my EPK, she just like, it just reinsures everything that like I've been talking to her about and just, you know, brings it in.
You're using advanced marketing techniques, which is exactly what I use when I go to places, because you're the guy with the beard. I'm the guy that we talked to about something certain last night or something like that. You always leave a little lasting impression so they can just remember you just a bit.
They have to,
so you can put your foot back in the door. Yeah. And I don't think that too many people are, well, actually nobody's doing that, man. And that's what's great about this, is because we can use this stuff and we're not using it as like in a negative way. It's like we're using it to get our foot in the door because this is what we want. So what do you think about the value part, right? You're giving, and then you go in for the ask. Do you feel bad about going in for the ask?
Do I feel sometimes I kind of do. At first I did, because I felt like they were taking a chance on me when I didn't have a lot of content. But when I first signed with Legator, I showed him what I had. I did a video for Gabriel Guardian. It hit 1 million views. I mixed everything on it. He went on MTV, Robert Dyrdek's show Amazingness. Nice. I mixed his backing track for that. So I showed them that. And, you know, the email I got back was, what guitar string count and color do you want? You know, so sometimes it works like that. But, you know, after that, you know, I was starting to message brands, and I had a guitar pickup company who actually told me no. I had won a shred competition from them, and they still told me no, you know, being with the brands and stuff like that. Fast forward, you know, months later, I announced that I'm playing at NAMM, and they're like, hey, let's talk. We go to NAMM. They're like, okay, we're going to hit you with the contract. The contract wasn't there, and we renegotiated. They were giving me what I wanted. And then my guy for Legator actually got me to like one of the top brands for pickups.
Nice.
So I went that route. But, you know, at first I did kind of feel bad because it was just like taking it. I just wanted them to see the value or the video or the content that I was going to create for them was worth giving me the gear.
Right. Yeah.
Now with everything, it's a little different. I don't have to ask anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you put in the time and the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they see that. If you're busy and you're keeping up work, it's easy to get these things. Yeah. Right now, I'm kind of being taken care of. I'm about to do a tour with a band that I can't say yet. We're going 30 dates across the U.S. and Canada and pretty much around the whole U.S. And once you start telling them that you're doing these things and you're a content creator and you're a producer and you're just full-time music, they're like, well, I need to get my gear into your hands, because if you're constantly doing it, you're
in front of people. That's the one thing that people don't understand is if you control the eyeballs, you can control anything. The attention is where it's at. You can control the attention, you control the eyeballs, and then you can lead them to wherever you want to lead them to.
Which is amazing. You know, I find a brand that I like, and then I guess I am an influencer, that people start buying them. Yeah. Legator Guitars, I had been watching them since they came out in 2012. Fairly new company that kind of blew up really big, really fast in the metal community. So everybody down here were like watching them, and everybody's posting up, I want a Legator, but like nobody has a Legator. Maybe like one of my friends has one. I get with Legator, and then boom, how do I get one? Oh, you want a Legator? Well, let me hook you up with my guys. They'll give you a deal. And now I have like, I don't know, there's got to be at least 10 guitars that I've helped bring down here in the Valley, not including some other ones around the U.S. that I've kind of hooked up people with and social media friends.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like it's not your influence isn't only here in the Valley. It's everywhere. It's whoever you touch on social media, and that's another thing I want to touch on is influencer marketing. I started using influencer marketing for one of my clients. So obviously you have a certain amount of people that are paying attention. You have a number of people on your Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. So what I started to do is influencers are really underpriced or overpriced. A lot of influencers don't know how to price themselves since it's so new. So it's one of the things I started exploring. But one of the things I started noticing here is the influencers here are just taking whatever they can get. They're not picky, I'm assuming, like you.
Yeah.
So they're just taking whatever they can, and then everything that you see on their social media is like an advertisement. It's an advertisement. Touch on the value part versus the ad, because my thought process is you give, and then you go in for the ask.
Yeah.
So touch on that.
And that's usually what I do with Legator. I was like, I give you mixes. I mix all their spotlights. I mix all their stuff. So I try to provide the value before you start asking, of course. And usually these companies feel bad or something that you're doing all this work, that they're like, here, man, take a pedal, you know?
You're guilting them into something, which I have no problem doing.
So like with content, I just try to create stuff that makes me happy. My last video, people were like, man, I really like the riffage this time. Can you play that for NAMM? Like, it's really good. And, you know, I could just write some riffs in 20 minutes, record a video, and that's my gear demo for that one piece of equipment. But I have to have self-gratification first and foremost. Yeah. So I try to just create my ads and stuff in a very, what's the word? Just like a capturing way where you don't really know you're being sold, right? You are being sold. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the other stuff brings them in, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, like these are the pickups and these are what they sound like.
Yeah.
You know, but they're shredding and stuff behind it and like that.
You're taking them on a journey. It's a customer journey. That's what it is. You're bringing them into it, and then you're hooking them in with something else. It's like that's you're very advanced for not knowing. I guess not being schooled in marketing. Which
You know, just like you do, I take. You know, there's a lot of information on YouTube. I think beyond YouTube, if you can't find YouTube, there's a lot of classes, master classes, creative lives. Sometimes I watch a podcast from Tim Sykes. Sometimes I watch a podcast from Ty Lopez. You know what I mean? I love to watch entrepreneurs and people who make a living off of social media. Yeah. So I try to learn as much as I can. I may not know like technical terms of it, but I get what they're doing and what's going on. So I just try to use that in my field, because a lot of these people who teach social media, they're more on your boat. Yeah. I took a podcast recently for an hour, and he was showing how you can be promoting for businesses and showing them, look, you're going to pay this much, but you're going to make this much and be booked this much because of what I did for you. That doesn't necessarily apply to me, but there are some techniques of what they do that I can use on my side to make it work for me.
I think you're digging for those golden nuggets, and I don't think you went through YouTube University, man. And that's the thing that I'm always talking about. Yeah, I talk to college students, I talk to people that have gone through college, and I ask them all the time, do you have to go to college to become successful? No, I don't believe so.
I don't think so. One of my biggest things, and thank you to the guys in Vibrahaven, when I was recording, I finished up this EP for one of my first bands that I came out with, the Widowmaker Studios. And I told them, hey, there's this class on Creative Live from a producer that you're going for. I think it's going to help me boost my mixing and all that substantially. So I asked them, would you front me the money so that I can take this class, learn from it, and then come back and mix your EP? And they saw that, and they funded me the money for that class, and it just boosted me. That's one awesome. Class, I learned the majority of stuff that I still practice today.
That's awesome.
Off of that one class.
That's awesome.
So when people tell me, I want to learn Photoshop, I want to learn pictures, I want to learn social media, find the Creative Live class or the master class or whatever class it may be that pertains to you and learn it, because YouTube does give a lot of information, but I think the golden nuggets, like you said,
you pay for
you pay for them. You know what I mean? That's why I don't think schooling is right, because they're not always going to give you, they're going to give you your basics and this and that and this and that. Yeah, at the end, it's all going to work together. But if I just get straight to the point, the nitty gritty, the stuff that I need to learn, that's the key.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, man, because, I mean, like I said, we live in an instant gratification world. So getting the content that we need the world's too fast, period.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to consume this stuff and then put it into practice. And I think that's one of the things that most people don't implement the stuff they learn. They'll watch it and they'll keep watching it and they'll keep watching. It's like, I'm motivated. And then they won't do anything.
See, I have I watch things for different reasons. Sometimes I watch things to get motivated, and then sometimes I watch things to learn. Yeah. But I think if you don't practice what you're learning, it's pointless. Yeah. Even Ty Lopez and all those guys, they say, they do their podcast, Joe Rogan, but they say, if you're not going out and making this happen, it's not doing anything. Yeah. What's the point? Thank you for listening to my podcast, though. But
well, that's the great thing, because I know for a fact 99% of people just won't implement, and the actual 1% that do are gonna get all these benefits off of it. And that's what I don't know the mind frame from a lot of people. So I that's why I love talking to people. I like to dig into their brains and see what they do and how they operate life, because I'm super interested in the people that aren't implementing that do know it, and the people that are implementing and doing this stuff. So that's why I'm very aware of what's going on, because we live in a social media world. You see all this stuff. Yeah. So you can see the hustlers out there that are doing things.
When we first met, our interview with Vinny Dee, I think that was after my first year at NAM, actually. And I watched you since then. I keep tabs on people on social media, whether you be across or right near me. you're a grinder.
Yeah.
You're a grinder. You're a guy who sees opportunity and reaches for it and grabs it.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing with people is I try to get people to come to NAM so they can see it for themselves and then they come back motivated. But when they don't come to NAM, it's hard to get them to see what they need to see. And I'm like trying to give them the inspiration they need. But at the same time, if you bring them to water, you can't make them drink.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Then that's why I'm very bullish about social media, because I've been talking about that. I shared a picture from like, I think 2015 when I was talking about social media and how effective it is. And now we're in 2019, but I don't think it's going to catch on for the next 2 years. But my goal is, and this is a conversation I had with one of my clients that I'm trying to pick up full time, right? She was saying, well, we're not at that point yet where we can, we don't have the foundation to be able to bring in the people that can, I guess what social media is going to bring a lot of eyeballs. So they're not prepared to take on that task yet. So I was like, I don't care. I'm in it for the long term because I know I want to be the person that you think about digital marketing 2 years down the line. I want to be the only digital marketer you talk about or you think about or that pops into your head or that knows these type of things, because agencies are out there like crazy. And I've seen them pop up and they die off. They pop up and they die off. I don't get it.
They don't know advertisement.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, I think people don't know how to advertise their business correctly, and that's why they end up losing at the end. A lot of people think that you can set up in the corner and make it work.
Yeah.
I don't think it works like that. You kind of have to go out there and bring people into your business, which is what I did. I do the studio full time, and it took me a couple of years to get to that point, but at the same time, I was always constantly making sure I was the guy for that job.
Right.
And if I didn't know how to do it, I would learn. You know what I mean? So, where was I going with this? I just try to be the guy in my market to go to, just like you are.
Yeah.
You know, you want to think of rock, metal, you're thinking of Widowmaker Studios, you're thinking of Josh.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of these business, they don't understand how advertisement is one of your biggest keys. I don't know if you've seen Facebook businesses, only 1% of businesses, or it's a really small number, use advertisements for their benefit. Yeah. There's a huge market for that. Awesome. It's a huge market. Like if I wasn't doing music, I'd probably be trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because there is a huge market and people think, oh, it's oversaturated. No, only 1% of businesses around the world use social media, that's Facebook for advertising.
And I actually started taking out ads in San Antonio so I can start, in the next 5 years, my wife kind of knows, but I want to move into San Antonio and start taking that market too. But I'm trying to build up my reputation in San Antonio right now just by taking out ads. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, like, all right, bands specifically, videography is a huge deal for them. I can't tell you how many pages I manage that they always sent for restaurants and bars. They always send, hey, I have a band I'm interested in playing. Send me a YouTube link. Oh, we don't have any of that stuff. That's the easiest way to get in front of people. I mean, it's not hard to find a videographer that will do it inexpensively. No. Production is at an all-time low. And the reason is because there's so many people that are creative that don't know how to sell. And that's one of the things that I think hinders a lot of people, because I've met photographers, videographers that do amazing work. They just don't have social skills. They don't know how to sell themselves.
It's the hardest part.
It's the hardest part.
And that's the hardest part to teach. Mm-hmm. How do you teach somebody to have good social skills? I don't know. Things have to click in their mind. Yeah. You can do as much as you can, but it's hard. I think people are so used to being comfortable that they don't like to be uncomfortable. And the thing about this business is you have to constantly keep putting yourself in uncomfortable positions to gain opportunity.
Obviously, you're around people not only from the Valley. Is that only a Valley thing, or is it everywhere?
It's an everywhere. Yeah. It's an everywhere thing. I mean, like I said, my friend went out to NAMM, and he's barely getting his first endorsement this year with a guitar company. So social skills is just like all over the place. You know what I mean? Everybody's the same. I go to a booth and I see somebody talking to an AR rep, And I'm just like, wow, you're not handling this well. I'm kind of like feeling for you right now. You know what I mean? They're like super nervous, saying like all the wrong things.
Yeah.
Or, you know, some people go up to a company and they don't have anything. They don't have a band. They're not on tour. They don't, or, you know, they have a band. They don't have music videos. They don't have music stuff. A lot of people try to lock in the endorsements before they start working.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it works. Yeah. One of my ARs put up a meme, the Simpsons meme, where like he comes in and out.
Yeah.
He comes out with like an AR shirt, and then somebody's like around the corner is like, yeah, I really want to get endorsed. I really want to do some stuff with my band, but I want to lock in some endorsements before we come out with all their stuff. And then like Homer comes back in the grass and comes out, not AR, because the AR guys are just like, no. I don't.
And I think you're coming from an interesting perspective, because I don't think many people hear this. They don't get like, all right, you need to be prepared first and foremost, and you need to create content, because the world we live in now is content heavy, and visually, I mean, photography, videography, like I said before, and I always say this, it shows you how you speak, how you talk, your mannerisms. So people kind of build a relationship with you online.
Just
and when
by seeing your stuff.
Exactly. And if you stay in front of their face enough times.
And that's what I think. Exactly.
It's true. It works. I mean, obviously you've benefited, I've benefited. So, yeah. I mean, that's why I'm huge into the digital world, because I need to be able to extract as much money from the internet as possible. That's my goal, period.
Yeah.
That way, one day I can be traveling anywhere and I can take my laptop and my camera and just do whatever I do, as long as I have a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is how it's been,
awesome.
Even for people who are in stocks. You know, they just need a computer and a Wi-Fi connection, and they're good to go. You know, they're banking.
Never in the history of the world it's been like that, man.
That's why I don't like. The internet and everything. Now is your chance more than ever to make it happen for you. Yeah. The problem is people are lazy.
Yeah.
People are lazy. Yeah. They don't want to get up. They don't want to do it. And I get it how like sometimes you're not going to get the benefits immediately, and everybody does want instant gratification. Yeah. I feel like I work for the next 2-3 years. I'm going to see those benefits 2-3 years later. When I did Vibrahaven and came out with Widowmaker Studios, not until 2-3 years later, I started getting the bands that I wanted to get. Yeah. And I think everybody just needs to put in that work, see where they need to put in the work, see that there is an outcome that is going to come out of it, and do it full force, and let it grow, let it sink in. Cause, you got to plant the seed.
Right.
And sometimes it takes longer or quicker to grow, but if you don't plant that seed, you're kind of not going anywhere.
Yeah. And people keep forgetting to keep watering it.
keep watering it.
And keep watering it.
I feel like the relationship between me and customers and clients is a big deal. You know what I mean? I want the band to keep coming. I want them to know that they're comfortable with me in my studio and that they keep coming. It's not, if I had a different mentality, I would have mixed Immortal Guardian, my best band, and then that would have been it. Yeah. But, you know, I kept up with them. We vibed so hard. I think having like-minded individuals is a big key to success. Surrounding yourself with people who are like that. And what sucks about the Valley and family is, Josh, he's doing this thing. He's doing that thing. You know, that's what it is. But then I go out to NAMM and these people are like, wow, dude, like that's your job. That's your job. You know what I mean? Like they don't question it. So at first when I was getting on the camera, I would get like a little embarrassed and try to get the energy that I need to do the video. But I'd be scared of, like my friends, like, look at Josh. Look at Josh. But when I show it to a brand, they don't know me prior. Yeah. They're just going to see that. Exactly. And in a split second, sometimes 10 seconds is all you get with them. They make up their mind whether they want to do work with you or whether they don't. Yeah, I don't think people understand that through social media, you can show people exactly what you want them to show, and you don't have to show them anything else. Mm-hmm. So obviously using it for your benefit for the business side of it, it works. I mean, I think a lot of people, especially business owners, they're like, well, I don't want to come on camera. I have too much going on in my life. And I was like, you don't have to show them
anything you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like they just don't get it yet.
And I don't like what you just said when, I'm too busy with everything else in my life. If you want something, you're going to sacrifice your Netflix time.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. Everybody puts some time away a day for Netflix or, whatever their thing is, video games. Put it towards something else that's going to help benefit you. Sacrifice some of that time. If you really want something to happen, that video or whatever, sacrifice that time. And I think everybody doesn't want to do that. They want to be comfortable.
Right.
I've worked all day, and don't complain when you're in the same position 2 years from now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to sacrifice your extra time and make things happen for you. Well, then don't complain.
Yeah. I think you touched on a good subject earlier, which is investing back into your band or your brand, whichever. Is a lot of when I was talking to another band back, they wanted me to do their advertising for them. I was like, well, how much can you spend? Because my thought process is you spend as much as you possibly can on Facebook ads to get your stuff out. And they're like, well, I can do $100 for 2 weeks. And I was like, was that it? Like, it's a constant thing. And they're like, yeah, the guys don't want to pitch in. They don't want to do this stuff. I'm sure that's a common occurrence. I don't understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we are obviously living in a very good place where bands are making some money, right? What is their mentality going towards where they don't want to invest back into the band?
The mentality. Okay, I see this a lot. And I think with people who don't want to spend, they haven't seen the benefits. And they think that you're just like throwing in money for paid likes. I had a band yesterday. I said, look, you need to get your likes up to this number or brands are not going to want to pay attention. I'll see the conversation. Oh, I'm on tour. I'm doing this. I'm across this, playing the best venues. What's your Instagram like? Yeah. That's what they care about. Yeah. So he was telling me, well, what if those people aren't engaging, or what if they think it's this? And I'm like, no, just bring them up. This is what people want to see. Yeah. Work on that. And I feel like people think that their money is going to waste when it comes to that.
Because it's not tangible.
Exactly. But it is. When you go out to a place like NAMM and you see everybody making deals right there next to you, it's that's why I say your vision becomes clear when you go to NAMM, because you see it firsthand, the conversations between an artist and an artist relation and what they're looking for and what they want. Yeah. Everybody wants different things, but do you have those services to provide them? So for me, an AR wants one of three things, and one of these three things is going to get you the deal. Either you have a good following, you're on the road, or you're a content creator. I learned that that's what they wanted to see, and I worked on it. Yeah. And now it's like getting easier and easier. You know what I mean? I just have to show them these three. Hey, look, I'm the trifecta. Yeah. I got all three things you're looking for, so there is gratification in it. It's not instant, but I think that's the problem, is people don't see that. And the people that do know, like Rock and Roll James, he knows how it works, especially being in the radio business, and he makes it work for him. And then he's going out. Why is Rock playing like these big venues and biker fests and festivals? Well, he knows what he's doing. He knows that if he puts the time, money, and effort into advertisement, he can find the people that he's trying to promote to his audience, and he will gain more opportunities out of that. Yeah. But they don't see that. They want it right now. They want the views, or they want this. And I think that's why everybody puts like really cheap budgets, or they don't want to invest anything at all.
No, you're absolutely right. I keep going back to, you control the eyeballs, you control the attention. If you have the attention, you can pull it anywhere you want and use it to your benefit. Because, man, at the end of the day, like, businesses are looking for numbers, period. Yeah. And then they want to see your content. And that's one of the things that I only picked up videography and photography to be able to get good enough at it to sell it, period.
That's me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I always kind of had a hobby for video and stuff like that, but it wasn't until like when I did my first NAMM that I started diving into it. And then, my video guy, Jonathan Cruz, we have very great energies, and we're very go-getter. He's the same way like I am. Yeah. It's except in the video world. He makes sure he's being booked. So we try to get together for weeks at a time and keep the vibes going. And Where was I going with this?
Just creating content, man.
Creating content. So I got into the video world. I used him like, what can I learn? And I learned a lot in the past 2-3 years of just filming, lighting. Lighting is extremely important, you know, using LUTs, shooting in log. I learned a lot, not because I exactly wanted to, but because I needed to. Right. I needed to get good at things. I knew that I wasn't, as much as I wanted to pump out content, I couldn't have John there filming me all the time. I couldn't have George Glass coming in and filming all the time. I didn't want to keep bothering them to have to come film me all the time. So I had to take up that skill of filming so that I can do it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, you can catch a fish for a man, but if you teach him how to fish, you know, he eats for life.
That's true, man. I like our first company that we started, we had a amazing videographer, and before I was just shooting however I saw it, right? Yeah. And then this guy came in and we were paying him, and I was like, fuck this, dude, I'm going to learn from this guy. So I went on all the shoots with him. I just picked up all his habits, and I was asking him things because at the end of the day, I was paying him. So I was like, I'm going to learn from you too. Yeah. And then the same thing again with my last guy is I'm just learning from all these people until I can figure it out for myself. And then I take it and I take all those skills and I do it on my own. So I don't think people understand that you kind of have to pay sometimes to get access to people so you can extract the skill sets from them and then use it for your own benefit.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. I have bands come in who kind of self-produce, and they come in and learn from me, and then they go back and work on it themselves. And I love to teach. I think that's a great skill for them. I have work coming in, so I'm not too bothered about like, oh, you're going to record your own band. You know what I mean? I'd rather you learn and grow. Yeah. For me, the Valley is so far behind. I go out to Cali and Vegas and I work with these people. I'm like, I come back here and I'm like, man, the majority of the scene, it's going past your head. You all are missing the big picture. So if I can catch somebody up, I get gratification out of that. You know, everybody in my inner circle, I come back from NAMM. What are you doing? What are your plans? Let's get together. Show me your plans. I took my buddy Brian from Lone Scar. He came the past 2 years, and he comes back ready for work. The band, they're not on the NAMM high. Yeah. So I'm like, well, how can I bring that in? I see a problem here. You know, I get together with the bassist yesterday and I get him hype. And okay, what are you doing? What are your plans for the year? Okay, you got some plans? Bring them over. Let's review them. So I'm very much about bringing people up with me because I don't think I can do it alone.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
And that's what I started doing too is a lot of social media marketing companies and other advertising agencies, the ones that I like, I'll start sharing their stuff because I understand that if people are talking about it more and not just me, it's going to be easier and more accessible for business owners to be like, all right, let me try it. Yeah. So that's the thing is I think a lot of people are afraid of like competition. I love competition, but I'm also like, all right, I can't get it all.
Yes. So agreed. I can't get it all. And at the same time, I think competition is good in a friendly way to keep each other motivated. Yeah. And I try to do that. Like if there's somebody doing rock and metalcore bands, boom, work with them. Yeah. Don't be part of the problem, be with it. You know what I mean? So like, I know all my producers down here. I work some way or another with these producers. Either they're editing with me or I'm mixing for them or they're helping me out with a band. I just try to bring it all in as much as possible because we can't do it alone. Yeah.
No, I completely agree, man. And that's how I feel about like all these hacks that I always give out. I'm always giving out like super badass hacks. Yeah, I see them. And they work, but nobody ever listens. I'm like, fine, dude.
But keep putting them out. Yeah. Keep putting them out because one day it's going to click with somebody and then it's going to grow from there.
I completely agree, man. It's just that value. You're giving value.
Even and then you come in for the ask.
Exactly, yeah. One day I'm going to be in your inboxes and I'm going to ask you for something, man. Yeah. So I don't think people really understand that. But the traditional way of marketing is a dying thing. Like the radio, the TV. I had somebody pay $10,000 for a TV commercial that aired at 5 a.m. Wow. Like on digital marketing, you can do some damage.
$10,000? Yeah. With $1,000, you could like overnight almost like go to where you kind of want to go to with $1,000, especially if you know how to do it. I have a friend who took me a tour of one of the biggest amp factories out in Cali, and then he showed me how he kind of handles his social media marketing. And there, if you read the numbers and learn how to invest your money in the right ways, oh man, you can benefit a lot.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I love this digital world that I'm living in, and I see a ton of potential for the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And if it's not Facebook, it's gonna be something else, and it's gonna be something else. But I don't think Facebook's going away anytime soon. They're investing a ton of money.
There's always like basics to everything, and you can apply them to certain stuff. If you get into it now and figure it out and learn what you need to learn, when the platform changes, you're going to be right there with it.
Right.
There might be a learning curve with the new platform, but a lot of the same techniques are going to still apply.
I completely agree, man. Well, Josh, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Let people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook at facebook.widowmakerstudios.com, or if you want to just check out my page, Joshua Lopez Musician. That's the best place to find me and keep up with all my projects and mixes.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Welcome to the Joshua Morales podcast.